Okay, recording now. So, so of those things, what would be the biggest 3 frustrations that it'd be worthwhile spending some time on, that we can spend a bit of time looking at fresh thinking, different opportunities, and sharing best practice? Carol, what would you like to look into?
Closing
Okay.
is the biggest thing for me.
Righto. Nikki? Team members?
I guess,
yeah,
team
building.
Team, can I just say team forming?
Yeah.
Because, yeah, team building is slightly different. Martin, fickle people?
Yeah, I mean, I think closing in general, I guess it kind of covers all those things I mentioned.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Cool. So when Graham leaves in 4 minutes, there'll be 5 of us left, and it's probably about the right size to have a discussion without getting bogged into detail. So if we have a whole group discussion now, and then we leave it at kind of high level. Have you heard the phrase chunking up and chunking down in information flow? So as a concept, so closing would be quite a high level of chunking. Convincing somebody to try a specific problem would be way down the detail. So we kind of keep it high level stuff, and then we can perhaps do some teasing out in the third section at the end of this process. So for the next 15 minutes, we'll go to 10:30 if that's okay with everybody. We'll then talk about best practice in those specific areas we've talked about there. So it's closing, team forming. Well, let's just work on those 2, shall we? Closing, customers, and team forming. So this is ideas and opportunities. So we're not going to get negative now. We're going to change our mindset. So the mindset now is about positivity and sharing really good practice and things that have worked for us, and hopefully inspiring each other. Does that make sense?
I'm going to dip out, Stuart, so I can get on this other call. So see you later, guys.
Okay.
I know Nikki's
Bye.
devastated, obviously.
See ya.
Right, see ya.
Yeah, I am, because Graham has actually done some really good calls and closed some really good people, and so he probably would have value. But anyway, never mind.
No, well, you know.
My fault.
You know.
I booked him in on this thing. But anyway, go. Leave.
I do, I'm told. Right, I can't figure out how to leave. See you later, guys. Love you all.
I'm going to kick you out.
You know what? It's the most satisfying thing, kicking people out.
One of the most satisfying things with Zoom calls I find is with a big group call, you can mute people, and then with my settings, they've got to apply to be unmuted back in. Such a powerful thing. It's amazing. So Rosalie, you've got a bit of experience of building teams. What have you found that works really well in terms of finding and recruiting team members?
Okay, so 2 different ways. One, my favorite is obviously person to person, and I've still been trying to do that when I do. Like today, I am physically trying to get to people. I know it doesn't always suit everyone. So that would be my first one if ever you get the chance, because that's old-fashioned me. Right. But so, I have been pivoting.
So to go back to that, Rosalie, what's the first step of that meeting in person thing? So first of all, how do you find them? How do you identify somebody as being potentially a good team member?
I find them wherever I go. If I'm passing, my eyes and ears are always open, and like today, you've probably seen I wear these little buttons, these little badges on my left shoulder, which are conversation starters. So whether I'm in a shop or whether I'm anywhere, it starts a conversation. And I've never got a business card until I've got their details, so that's my number one thing. So I'm busy and I can't talk now, because you can never do it justice when you're on the move. And just to get an arrangement to catch up at some time, but that time has to be very soon. So it's good to be busy. And can I just give me your email? I always ask for an email because that's less invasive. And then I say, actually, no, give me your number, because it might be quicker for me to run because I'm always so busy. And it's just that little conversation, little bit of rapport. I get their details, and then all of a sudden I'll say, actually, hang on a minute, I have got one. And so Or the other one I've learned to do is to say to them, here's my phone, look me up as a Facebook friend, and we'll do it that way. But that's not my strength, because I'm rubbish on the phone, and every time I press the phone it would go somewhere else. So I try to get that connection that way, to arrange to speak to them at a different time, giving me the power, because I've got their contact details, not waiting for them to ring me.
Rosalie,
so I take charge.
Can I take you back up a level? Do you mind?
Yeah.
So when you say you've got your eyes and ears open, what are you looking for?
I'm looking for people with children. I'm looking for seniors. I'm just looking for anyone that perhaps I'm in a conversation with and a connection with. And, you know, how are you today? What are you doing today? Or just bring in a conversation. And then, you know, are you at work? Are you just on your work? Are you on a break? What do you do? And I just break into a conversation to just fact find a little bit of a place where I can say, oh, you might be interested in something that I do then. And they'll
So
say,
your
what's
mindset,
that? And I'll just say, I help people
sorry, Rosalie, I'm
feel
going to be
well or get
interviewing.
better or improve. And they usually say, well, what do you do? I say, well, I'd love to tell you, but, you know, we're both on the run, aren't we? So how about give me your email? Can I send you some information? Because that word...
Rosalie.
Yeah.
I've got a favourite farm animal. It's called an interrupting cow.
Yeah, that's fine.
Moo!
Because, yes.
And great that you give all this detail, which is fantastic to look into. So I want to kind of get the top level stuff. So it's about the mindset to speak to random people, I guess.
Yeah, ignore the voice in your head.
And engage with them on the thought that you're always looking for opportunities to get team members, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I get put off by a voice in my head.
Yeah.
I have to override that.
Okay.
How many times does that happen a day?
Okay, so the mindset for me, sorry, anybody else anything to add on that in terms of that positive mindset? Carol, yeah.
Just that, you know, that's fine if you're out and about, but I'm not. At the moment, I'm not out and about. I don't meet people out in the street. I only go to the little local shop and run in and run out again.
Okay, so can you create other environments online, or are there other opportunities online, such as local online networking or other aspects like that you could?
That's what I'm doing. But then I get to that stumbling block of not being able to go that next step.
Okay.
I've got loads and loads of contacts online, just hundreds of them, but it's just going to that next step.
Okay. So Rosalie's thing about the mindset is a really important aspect. So she's always looking for opportunities to engage with people about the prospect of working together. And Carol's point there is about, you know, how do you then start? So once you've got that contact made, how do you then go to the next step? Yeah.
Yeah.
So from my perspective, sorry, Nikki, go.
No, it's fine, go.
So from my perspective, you don't know what anybody will say unless you've spoken with them. So if your mindset is about the fact you've got loads and loads of contacts in your LinkedIn or Facebook or whatever, you have no idea whether they'll say yes or no until you've asked them a question in the first place. So here's a thing that you could consider doing as an idea. In your phone book or your LinkedIn connections, twice a day, connect with somebody in a proper way and say, hello, Jeanette, we haven't spoken for a long time. How would you like a virtual coffee? Carol X. And then set up a one-to-one, and then you can do that thing one-to-one, just twice a day. I started doing.
Can I add something?
Of course.
So on that note, I was reading, and I was actually, this is what I was going to go, just literally going to go on live to Carol, and I was saying in my team group, I was reading some Secrets to Mastering Your Mindset thing, a Big Owl book that just come out, and this is exactly what he talks about. He says when you're talking to people, our intention might be we need recruits or we want to make sales or and we need to kind of change that narrative, because what happens in our body language is that we can come across, can't be desperate, or we've got a purpose to talking to you. We want you to be on our team. But if we switch our mindset to what's like a genuine thing, when you reach out to someone, let's have a coffee and catch up, your intention shouldn't be at the end of this call, I'm going to make a sale with them or I'm going to, recruit them. It should be a genuine, let's catch up. because in amongst that rebuilding that rapport and that relationship, if it's done with the right intention, which is to see how they are and how they're doing, and that maybe you might share some options with them if they need it, then I think that takes the pressure off us, and also changes perhaps our body language and the way we would speak to people. So I think that maybe we need to change our intention and our purpose and I know we're all in a desperate rush to build teams and make connections, but if our intention is to go out and help people, whether that be with their ailments, pain, sport, financially, if our purpose is to help them, then our intention is always going to be one of relaxed and when we have those conversations.
Makes sense?
Yes.
Yeah, and one of the things that I was just about to say before Nikki came out of that great value in there is that when we had lockdown 2, I think it was, I was just so frustrated with not speaking to people. I just literally got my phone out and started ringing on the phone to people every day during the working day and just saying, hello, John, we haven't spoken for a long time. How are you, mate? How's the family? How's whatever? Well, blah, blah, blah. And they always turned it round to business. Not me, they always did. And then you talk about the new things that you've got and it's helping people in different ways, blah, blah, blah. And there's no sell there at all. And then they then just go, oh my God, that's really interesting. Yeah, it is. You know, do you fancy having a chat some more about it? Because, if there's people that that it might be able to help, then that might be a good thing as well. And that's just a nice, gentle, genuine way, as Nikki said there, of saying, I have genuinely rung you to find out how you are because I haven't spoken for a long time. And then they will, if they're a business connection of yours, they will always bring in business to the conversation.
And even if the conversation, like I say, it does always turn to business in some way, but even if that's where the conversation ends, you've perhaps had an opportunity to plant a seed, and they'll remember that. So it's like that. What is our intention going into all of our conversations and our connections? Yeah,
and as we said in our little breakout room with Nikki and Martin, that in fact, you might have mentioned it at the start. Jay on Saturday basically said, let's not focus on people with ailments. Let's focus on general people, and let's talk about how they feel, how they function, not how they feel. And let's start the conversation going differently. So the more wide-ranging our appeal is in terms of the benefits we can add, the more opportunities we have for those conversations. So what I would like to suggest to each of you is to come up with a kind of an elevator, not a pitch, but an elevator chat. What is it you do? What do you do for a living? And literally, it should be about 30 seconds that encapsulates that whole thing. So when somebody says to you, imagine you got on a game show and Ben Shepherd says, here we are on the tipping point, and here's Carol, and Carol is a whatever. Martin is a whatever. How would you summarize that in just that very short period of time? Because
that's where I struggle.
Yeah. So again, I think a lot of people do that, Carol, and I go to a heck of a lot of online networking, and I say, every time I go on a table or a group, I always say to other people, what do you do? And they'll always bring something out in their rambling conversation about what they do. So, people that do holistic therapies, for example, are in my humble experience, the worst of it. They go, oh, I do Reiki and massage and and I do this and that and the other thing. And, we get these people and my frustrations are blah, blah, blah. And I'm just going, as Rosalie correctly says, ears and eyes are open, writing notes and thinking, I've got my conversation started for you. Thank you. and it's just looking for those opportunities, as you correctly say.
Yeah.
So that could then lead us to, so if we think about, so there's 3 aspects alone. So keeping your eyes and ears open, looking for opportunities. And if you had a focus, as I always say in networking things, if you give me a focus of people to look out for, to refer to your business, then I'm much more likely to find it. So if you have a focus in your head as to the type of people you'd like to engage with in a conversation. So as I always say to networking people, I want to speak to osteopaths, chiropractors, massage therapists, reflexologists, and other people that do physical remedial therapy to people. Because I've got a great opportunity, I think, to work together and bring them some fantastic results for their clients. And so that's my focus is on speaking to people like that. And yes, we'll have, oh, here's another frustration, sorry, the HCPC, which I'm going to say that and then leave that and move on from it completely.
Yeah.
So if you have a focus on the kind of people you'd like to meet with and have the positive intention of having that conversation with lots of people, look in your phone book, look in your LinkedIn contacts, etc., etc. You could look into just approaching different people, and completely with the right intention, as Nikki correctly says. The right intention is to reconnect with them and open that line of communication. And if they then engage with you to say, what is it you do? You've then got that kind of quick, ready resume of what it is you do.
Yeah.
I help people to get into a different state of body, which makes them feel zingy, zangy, zoodle all day. Doesn't matter what you say, but as long as you give them an option of saying, that sounds interesting, let's find out more, then, you know, what more could you ask for from a first call?
Yeah, I think that's really useful, and I love the idea of just connecting with 2 of your friends a day, or people in your phone book, or, you know, we have got we've got the perfect in for everybody we speak to right now because of how you're getting on in lockdown. How is it, you know, how you're feeling, like that's it. That's how you start it. Like you came up in my phone book, and I just wanted to see how you were doing, and you know, with everything that's been going on.
Yeah. How's it going?
Genuine.
How's it going? How's your family? What are your frustrations? My frustrations are, I've got really bad back, I've got lack of money, blah, blah. Oh, really? That's awful. Really sad to hear that.
I know one of the things Graham and I have really struggled with is this idea of an ideal audience, or who's your target audience. We really kind of struggle because Graham does, when he does his networking, that goes down the practice, you know, therapists and that kind of, he goes around that kind of route. And we've been on a few trainings, and they're like, you got to identify who your ideal audience is, and we can never narrow it down, although it kind of happens naturally, I suppose. And Carol, it reminded me of one of the things that you were going to do with your vibrating machine thing, and like you said something about reaching out to older people, and like I was thinking just of your target, you know, the things that you put on LinkedIn can be like, I'm going to live till I'm 120, or, you know, and people go, what, you know, and then you put things on social media that are like showing you living this thing, zangy, zippy, whatever life, and people are like, what the heck is going on with you, Carol? And they'll reach out and go, and that I'm very good at maybe helping other people identify their target audience, not so much of mine, but I kind of feel like ours is people like us, so people who are, you know, been knocked down by ill health, and, you know, financially and mentally, and kind of that's kind of who I think we're targeting, really. It's happened naturally, but you know, I was just kind of thinking and reminding myself about yours, Carol.
And how do you find them? You find those people by ringing people and saying, how are you? And they'll have a conversation with you as long as you get them at the right time of day. If not, you just go, you know, hello, it's Nikki here. Is now a convenient time to talk? Have you got a couple of minutes? Those kind of gentle ins that people just crave. You know, I'm caring for you. I'm asking if it's okay to share your time right now. Just trying to find out how you are, really, because I'm concerned. I haven't heard from people, and I found that by ringing people, it's just reconnecting on a human level. How are you? And at the back of your mind, you're always thinking, you know what, if an opportunity comes up, then I've got these things to talk about. So it's really just saying to yourself, I've got nothing to lose here by ringing somebody, passing the time of day, keeping my ears and eyes open, and keeping that one shut. Then just saying, you know, how are you? And then, you know, at the end, towards the end of the conversation, you just say, and what have you found most frustrating during these lockdown periods? And they might just give you a fantastic in. And
this is another thing I've noticed as well, is let them do, like, other people should talk more than you. Because like I went out with my friend, caught up with her, haven't, you know, been together for ages, and spent about an hour and a half with her, and she just talked and talked and wanted to talk and talk and talk and talk, and she would occasionally ask about me, but then it always went back to her, and I just thought, you know, that's what she needed. And that's okay, because I'm not a massive big share all talker anyway, and I just think that's what people feel like they've had a great conversation if they've done loads of talking and been able to vent or air or whatever. So I kind of feel like that's a good thing as well.
And just imagine if you've got somebody like that on the phone in a conversation where they're talking. Just imagine if you can make a great impact on their life, how much they would go and tell other people.
True.
Which brings us quite nicely, I think, round to the closing aspect. Who's had great success in closing? I've been quite successful with closing, to be fair. So how do you close? The simple rule with salesmen, we've been a salesperson at ABC, always be closing. However, as Martin would say, probably, people are very skeptical, and therefore they're unwilling to be closed. So when it comes across as being quite a blunt close, it can be quite off-putting, especially for someone that's not convinced about the viability or the perspicacity of this technology. That's me finished using long words for the day now, by the way. You'll be glad to know. So how do you close? How do you close, Nikki, on a client, not a teammate?
I note that often because I leave it all to Graham. I'm trying to think of this one lady who reached out to me because of something I put on, and I just went and told her about it, and I said, "Do you want to give it a go? Do you want to give it a try?" I was just really feeling bold that day. Not always, but you've got to ask for the sale in some way, however that fits with what you're saying. And I think that the couple of times I've done it, and I will be honest, I'm admin and behind the scenes and very lazy when it comes. I hate talking to people on the phone, and I've left it all to Graham. So my sales count compared to him is a bit pathetic, but the times I've asked for the sale, I've got it.
Okay. Carol, anything to add?
No, I suppose, do you want to give it a go? And you've got a 30-day money back guarantee, so you might as well.
Okay. Cool. Rosalie?
Can you hear me? Sorry, I had
now.
a signal that my blooming phone was dying and I can't hear you when I've not got the headphones in for some reason. For me, I'm given two options. I think this or this would be great options for you. What do you think? And then you have to be silent. Because if you speak before them, you've lost.
Yeah. And Martin,
it's hard. It's hard, but you do it.
What have you found works for you, Martin?
I think the problem is what's worked for me so well is when people close themselves, because I get some people come to me and say, "Oh, I saw something about your running, or I saw something you said online. I'd like to try these." And actually, to be honest, in the other business that I do full time, most of our customers come from inbound inquiries. I don't have to go out looking for them. So I think it's kind of made me a bit lazy. But yeah, so that tends to, work best for me when I feel like I don't have to, sell to someone and they can just buy from me. And that's just kind of a bit of a psychological difference. But for the people that it has worked with, I've really just said to them, give us a try. And, I'd love to see what results you get. So I don't like to overpromise on results, because I know some people have, miraculous results, and some people have results that are good, but not as, not as incredible. So I don't want to say to someone, "Oh, well, if you try this, within a week, all your pain will be gone." But I like to say to them, at the moment you've got this pain, try this. I'd love to see what results you get. And some people then go, "Okay, well, yeah, I'll give it a go and I'll let you know." So yeah.
Okay, cool. So are you in the habit of reading the VoxxLife testimonials?
I've gone through quite a lot of testimonials.
Just generally.
Yeah.
Sorry, it wasn't just to you, Martin. It was to everybody.
Yes.
Just looking for nodding faces. Because what I found works really, really well is if you have a whole bank of stories in your head, so that when somebody says, so the start point of any closing conversation, I believe, is to say, "Can you just remind me why we're talking about this thing today?" Because I know very fine and well, because I've got notes from the last time we met, and I've got either MS or mother or whatever on the notes that I've written down. So I know exactly why we're talking today. But I just say to them, just remind me why we're talking today. Okay, so we're talking about your running or MS or whatever else. Okay, so how does that affect you? So you're recreating that bad state in their brain. And you say you can then get some of your story bank, because you've got those people that you've either worked with directly or people from the testimonial group, and you can say, do you know what, I'd love to connect you with Jeanette in Canada, who had something quite similar to what you had, and she's put a testimonial. She says that she's happy, joyful, bounding, whatever. Is that the kind of result you're after? And then you just create, as Rosa said, you've got two options, and I don't go for the two options of either socks or insoles. I go for the two options of either you've just described in great detail where you are right now. Here's an option available to you. You know, is that something that would appeal to you? Okay, so if by wearing this technology for a period of 30 days, which by the way is risk-free because it's, you know, non-invasive, non-carcinogenic, etc., completely safe to use, and you get a full money back guarantee. And I just say, and I'll even pay your postage as well if you need to. Is that something you'd like to give a go? And as somebody said before, can't remember who it was, when they close themselves, it's brilliant, because you just have to say, there's an option available for you. And, you know, the skepticism side that we talked about before as well, Martin, is, you know, if you are completely convinced by your 30-day money back guarantee, and you say to them, here's two options, you either got this life or that possibility life, risk-free, why would you not want to give it a try? If they then say things like, oh, I don't believe in the technology, you say, that's great. Why don't you give it a try?
I really like the that when you said about options, Rosalie, that was the first thing I thought of. It's like your options are to try it or to stay as you are. Like,
I think if you can get in the mindset of using two of everything, whether you're booking to see someone, is it this, what suits you best this day or that day, what time, this time or that time, which sock, this one or that one. People can't make decisions. You sometimes have to help them with it.
It's called a double bind. In terms of NLP,
yeah.
It's called a double bind. So you're kind of saying to them, you're buying something, now which type of thing do you want to buy? You're making a commitment, which type of commitment do you want to make? And I sometimes I ring people and say, look, I've got loads of people on my books right now. We've been talking for a long time. Can you just say no to me so I can move on to other customers? I've done that before. Because quite frankly, I don't care if you say no. If you don't get a great result, it doesn't affect my life. Yes, I might lose a little bit of commission, whatever else, but frankly, I don't care. If you're just, you know, if you're so fickle, you can't see the health benefits. Honestly, unless you're a family member and I've just met you you're a stranger to me. I don't know who you are. It's not going to affect my life. So help yourself. Just say no, and I'll go.
I don't mention 30 days. Never. Because to me, that's setting up a clock in their mind, and I don't want to have to deal with that on the next follow-up call. So if you're having to say that, for me, I feel I'm saying to them, this is another nugget to make you buy, when I want them to buy because they want to get better from whatever it is, or enhance whatever they're really good at.
Yeah.
It's just a psychological thing that I think I impart to people, when really the only time we're talking about is the fantastic time they're going to have enjoying the journey on these products. So yeah, I mean, personal choice.
To be fair, the only time I bring up the 30-day money back guarantee is if they are on the fence, and it's just one more thing to tip them to one side.
Well, then you say to them, look, this might not be for you. Take it away from them. And then when they think that they're not going, or you're not going that direction, they sort of let you know that, well, no, I didn't mean that. That's, you know, people talk to them third party sometimes if they're so far away. You know, look, I'm just going to mention this, but it might not be for you. I understand that, but you may be able to share this with somebody that I can help. And sometimes it's just the psychology, isn't it? But all the things you've said so far are fantastic, but everybody's different. You just got to apply them to whomever it works with, haven't you? And you can't always read people. They don't always respond the same way, and you don't always come out with the same words, even though you didn't mean to say it, you come out with it. It's a learning curve.
So in terms of the closing thing, Martin, would that make sense to you in terms of going to them and saying, you know, why we're here today, listening to all their answers and saying, you know, heard about people like you, and for me, I've got a few customers that have got some great stories as well. I shared one with Carol just the other week about her dancing feet, and it's having that memory bank of things you can say, right, you've now got an option. You've got this life right now, which you say you've got some concerns with. You've got this other life available to you. You know, do you want to give it a go? And that's as hard as you need to be in terms of closing. I do believe that if you are in the game of doing some, you know, some of the more professional kind of sales techniques, I think you're in the wrong game if you're not making that story strong enough for them. So it's about, as I said on the Wednesday night call last week, it's about the towards motivation. So I said that you had a bad and you had a good. So the bad life is where you are right now. This is the good life, which I'm offering you the chance to go towards. How much would you like that, rather than making this one slightly better? And it's about saying, you know what, if you try these socks on your feet and you get to this lifestyle, how fantastic would that be for you? And it's sometimes about being not very blunt, but kind of blunt towards saying, you've got this opportunity right now. If we hadn't met, we wouldn't have spoken about this thing. This could give you the best quality of life you've ever experienced ever. You could feel 10 years younger. Who knows? Why don't you give it a go?
Anybody on the call go to share something with people, but you really know inside you're not feeling like you're confident to sell? Do you think it's you?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Can you honestly say to yourself, yes, I am going to sell this to this person? Or are you going in partly, you know, concerned about that? Is that in the back of your mind? Remember the amygdala? We've all got one, and people can hear and feel it from you. So you've got to go in like, there's no doubt in your mind that these people will have this product. And they will. But when you've got seeds of doubt, they can tell, they know it. We know what we've got. So just let that ooze out of you. Not in a silly way, you know, I'm not talking about being so flamboyant and silly, but don't go in with any doubt. You're going to help them to the best thing that we've ever come across. It's a wonderful thing. It's a gift you're taking to someone. Take that in your heart, and the conversations don't become what your mind is saying they might when you're sitting in the car pulling up outside the door, or you're getting on the Zoom or whatever it might be. No, come on, look what we've got.
Okay, so ideas and opportunities. Are there any other ideas and opportunities that you'd like to share with each other before we move on to producing our own plans for the next 2 weeks? So I know we haven't covered everything, which is the frustrations. So we talked really about growing a team and closing. So we've got some ideas and thoughts there around that. Now, if you had to produce a plan that for the next 7 to 10 working days you would follow religiously, give it a go, give yourself some feedback. There's one great mantra that I have in life, is that there's no such thing as failure, there's only feedback. So therefore, if you try things, give them a go, see what feedback you get. You can always readjust your sails to grab the available wind, using my sailing metaphor.
Actually, excuse me. That's really good, because feedback rather than follow-up sounds better to me. If I go to somebody and say, just wanted to get your feedback on the socks, rather than I'm saying, how are you getting on with them? Are they all right?
Yeah.
No.
Another thing I say when I ring them back up, I say, yeah, what have you noticed so far? And then if they do come back to me and say, I don't think I've noticed anything, I said, great, take them off. Take them off for 2 days and see how you feel differently then. And sometimes they then reveal that they haven't been wearing them at night. Oh my God, really?
Yeah. Oh my goodness, I literally had a whole conversation with my mother about this just the other way. She's like, I really don't know what I just don't notice anything. And bearing in mind, she's been wearing them as long as we have.
Yeah.
I just don't see anything. And then I found out she hadn't been wearing them at night. And I'm
Yeah.
like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You know nothing. And I taught you nothing.
Yeah. And sometimes when people say to me, I've experienced nothing whatsoever, you just say, right, okay, so let's first of all check. Are you wearing them at night? And the ones that haven't experienced anything are the ones that say, yeah, I haven't, no, or I've been wearing them occasionally at night and whatever. So it's kind of that, are you fully compliant? But yeah, I've only returned one pair of socks, and I've bought back one pair of socks from one person, and only because he ordered the wrong size. So I'm, so all the customers I've had in the last year and a bit, as Rosalie says, mindset. My mindset is, if you wear this stuff, you will see a result, absolutely categorically guaranteed. Can't say that because, if you're talking about back pain or whatever, you can't say it's going to help with that. But you can say, I know it will help you in some way by realigning your brain or reprocessing your brain. And that's the mindset that I have with the products. So in terms of your plans for the next 7 days, what would you think that you could do quite easily, get some great feedback from and feed all back to us next time we meet?
Right, well, I'm going to commit to, I don't know how many, seven feedbacks.
50.
2 one-to-ones arranged every day. Ugh. And 2 telephone calls with old friends, old people every day. Blimey, that'll keep me busy.
Brilliant. What are you going to do if you don't do those things?
Crawl under a desk and not come on the next call.
Are you going to buy us a bottle of champagne each?
Probably not. But I'm going to be very ashamed of myself if I don't do that. Right, that's enough.
So how good will you feel if in 7 to 10 days time you come back on the call again, you say, do you know what, I've met all my targets?
I shall feel very, very smug.
And you've made these many sales and you've got a new team member. How good would that be?
Well, that would be just, I can't even tell you how good that would be.
So what's stopping you from doing those things?
Procrastination.
Right. So put it in your diary.
Yep. I've got it written here in blood.
Pick up your phone, and when you start to dial, just keep dialing.
Yeah. You never know. You might even do more than that.
Oh, who knows? Imagine what that would be like.
Yes. Yes. I have a tracker that I've made up in a spreadsheet.
Brilliant.
So I shall use that.
Brilliant. Nikki.
Thank you.
So Graham and I are kind of a package deal. However, I did tell him that I would be contacting our customers and getting feedback from them to see how they're getting on from using it so much. So he will still continue with his calls and things like that, but I still am going to commit to making either 2 calls or messages a day from people in my contact list. And I said messages because I have a bit of a thing with the phone and I've got to overcome that. So I'm not going to commit to calls, but it's going to be calls or messages. And then I'm going to do at least three feedback from existing customers. I'm not going to, I'll contact at least 3 a day, I think, is what I'll do. I don't necessarily, if I'll hear from them or not, but anyway, that's kind of what I'm going to plan to do. What else was there? Is that it? Contacting people, feedback from existing customers. Yeah, I think it's probably it for me.
And what's the worst thing that can happen from you doing those things? What's the worst thing that can happen?
Well, they might talk to me. They might answer the phone, and then I get all uncomfortable and awkward. That's like the worst thing that can happen.
And what's the best thing?
You know what it is? I'll overcome some of those little fears I have of communicating with, like, this is fine, but sometimes with people I haven't spoken to for a while, I get a bit awkward. So I think I feel like I'm overcoming that, which I really do need to overcome. And especially if I can make some phone calls, that's going to feel amazing, because that is something I also need to work on.
What if those people have the fear themselves of speaking to people on the phone, and you are the one that helps them to overcome their fears by ringing them?
Well, that would be more worthwhile. Yeah,
so
that would be
just
so good.
imagine,
And
just imagine yourself helping them to speak on the phone.
Yeah, which would be amazing. Yeah, good. That's a good amount for me. I like that.
Can I just interrupt 1 second? Sorry, Stuart. We've got all these telephone calls and one-to-ones arranged, but we still haven't got our 30-second what do you do bit organised. What we say.
Yeah.
Well, we'll work on that as well then.
Can you do that?
Sorted. I've kind of sort of half got mine. I just need to tweak it a little bit, but I think that'd be a really good thing to get done as well.
Yeah. So I've got a one-to-one booked in 9 minutes. I need to crack through this last little bit.
Yeah.
Rosalie, sorry, Martin, you're unmuted at the minute. Why don't you say what you're committing yourself to?
Okay, so I get a lot of people on Instagram who new followers every day, and one thing I don't do that I could do a lot more is make contact with those people directly. If I see they're people who are new runners, or I see that people that have MS or whatever it might be, I'm going to contact them just to open a conversation to start with, and then with the intention of asking questions and listening and seeing what comes out of that. So for one thing, there's that. And then for people that do show some kind of interest in, have a need, they have whatever it might be, pain when they run or whatever, I'm just gonna, put it out there more to say to them, kind of with no pressure, look, if you want to try this, it's there. This is what it could be like if you get the results that I think you'll get, and then leave it with them, and then see how that goes. I always feel like I'm trying to defend it to people, and I don't really want to feel like I'm doing that. I don't want to have to say to people, you should try this because there's this and you'll feel that, and if you don't, I kind of feel like I'm talking too much and not listening enough. So I'm going to try to scale back a bit and put it out there, and then just gauge their reaction.
Yeah, brilliant. What I find is that when you if you're engaging with people in social media in the written format, nobody, in my humble experience, likes to be told, I've got this thing you could try, because they always come back and they just go, yeah, whatever. A thing to try might be, a suggestion for you is to say to them, would you mind spending a bit of time with me, explaining to me how this affects you, or what this means to you, and whatever. And then get on a virtual one-to-one, and then you can have an open conversation with them about it.
Yeah.
It's certainly what I try. If somebody comments on the thing, I mean, this morning, for example, my golf group, one of the guys has said, I've still got a problem with my hands, and I know his hands been a problem for quite a few months now. So I just reached out to him and said, hey, I'd love to find out about your hands. Do you want to fancy a virtual coffee? Get these socks on your hands. I know, on your feet.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I went back to him in a text or whatever else to say, hey, Adrian, I've got this thing for you, which might help your hands, he'd just go, whatever.
Yeah.
Arrange a virtual coffee. Yeah. Thanks. Rosalie.
Hi. Sorry, my camera's off. My battery's really low and I can't hear when I unplug. So I need to perfect my DMO, my daily method of operation, starting that by getting up early. I need to talk to 2 new people every day that I haven't spoken to ever about VoxxLife. I want 1 new associate every week signed up. I want to do 2 balance assessments physically in person. And I want 1 practitioner to speak to a week. I want 1 new person each week, and I want to sell 1 £600 kit to a person each week. That way I get my points that I need for what I'm aiming to do in 3 months, and build up my social media in between and get a bit more onto Instagram like I know what that's all about.
Okay.
Um,
So within your DMO, are you going to
Yeah.
have all those aspects into your daily mode of
Yeah.
operation to make sure
Yeah.
you hit all those targets?
and
Brilliant.
it starts with me getting my butt out of bed early in the morning, get my own exercise done. That puts me in the right mindset, and listen to something VoxxLife on the move, and I'm back and I'm on it. I've got what people need. They just don't know it yet. So what if I could? Would you?
Yeah.
That's all you need to say.
Yeah.
And like Jay said, if they don't do that, then don't do any more. Next.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
have to be ruthless, and I've been too soft and too silly and wasted too much time. However, that's gone. It's today, so I'm looking forward to this. It'll be great.
Brilliant. Super duper. So for me, I'm just going to go and keep doing more of the same, because it's really exciting, and the more I identify the people that have got these issues that I want to help, and it's either sporting or physical health or whatever, just the more I speak to people and say, look, I've got a call at 11 o'clock today to talk about this guy's mum, and just by having a conversation last week, I just said, and one of the things I'm really loving is helping people's elderly parents with various issues, and he said, right, we're on a one-to-one.
Yeah.
Great. And then I'm going to spend a bit of time in 4 minutes time saying, hey, Matt, you won't know who he is. Hey, Matt, what's the issue? Okay. Let me think back to my memory bank of all those stories and stuff. And he's got no chance. He's got no chance of not buying these things today.
And this is the thing, like, you know what, we go, well, what am I, people, people say to me, like, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? And it's like, not that we're doing anything wrong. We just need to keep doing what we're doing, and just be more positive about it, more proactive about it. And, we've had success, like all of us have had some form of success. And it's because we're not doing anything wrong. We just need to keep going.
Belief in
yeah.
yourself, belief in the product, and just keep going. And if things aren't working for you perfectly, then don't be afraid to try something different. And that's the whole purpose of trying these things out. So committing yourself to taking specific actions and being accountable. So we want to hear you on the 6th of April coming back in. Is 9 a.m. okay, or 9:30 better?
9 a.m. should be fine.
9 a.m. the day after Easter Monday, and we'll come back in and we'll hear about all your great feedback from your interactions with people. And it's always feedback. There's no success, there's no failure. It's just feedback. Either that worked really well, or this didn't work so well, but I've learned from that and I'm adapted and I'm doing this now. Brilliant. How good would that be?
Very.
That would be amazing.
Very good.
Super.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you very
ladies,
much, everyone.
Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time this morning.
Thank you, Stuart.
I'll finish this recording and then